do you prepare for an argument? What takes so much of time actually to prepare for an argument? So, friends, first and foremost, before you even start preparing and reading the file to prepare for your arguments, I strongly recommend that you inspect the court file. I don't know whether you do it already but yes, you must inspect the court file. Inspecting a court file, it may seem easy, but it is also an art in its own way. Now, when I was an intern, and as interns, you are sent a lot for inspecting the files. So I have also done a lot of inspection. Now, when you are recently joined as an intern, you are told when you inspect the file, make sure that your file is exactly the same as the court file. In fact, when I was doing my internship, I was told that if you find a dead mosquito pasted on your file, kill one and put it in your own file. I'm sure many would have heard that. Why this? The idea is that after you've done your inspection of the court file, your file should have become exactly the same as the court file. There should not be any room for any interpretation. Now, most of the time we feel that a particular line or a dot on the file is not important. But the judge, you never know, may have specifically put that line or dot at that very place for some reason, which you would end up realizing at the time of arguments.
Right.
Plus, your page numbers and markings on the page, which will help you guide the court to open that exact page while which you are referring to while arguing. Now, sometimes you may also come across some lines which have been underlined, maybe by the judge himself, because it's a court file. Nobody will underline and give something. So you know what is going on in the mind of the judge when he was reading the file. So you know exactly what is there in the mind of the judge. So through the court file, you're trying to actually read is the mind of the judge when he was reading the file. So if he has found something important, you must, if it's in your favor, stress upon it. If it's against you, be prepared to answer it.
Right.
So now that you've inspected the court file, read it thoroughly. Now, generally what I've seen the tendency in the young lawyers, they just read the synopsis and the list of dates and events, and they feel they're ready to argue the case. Please never do that. Read all your pleadings. And like Order 6 says, pleadings include your plaint and your written statement. And like I tell in most of the arguments, most of my lectures, that replication also in a way forms part of the pleadings. Once you've read all the pleadings, it's not just that because it's your side of the arguments and you're appearing for the plaintiff, you only read the plaint, you don't read the written statement. Never do that. You must know what is the arguments of the opposite side, because whatever he has taken in his written statement is what he's going to argue in the court. Then you must read all the documents which have been filed by you and the documents which has been filed by the opposite side. If it is a suit, before even going into the evidence, you must first see what are the issues framed by the court. Very interesting. When a court frames an issue, it mentions OPP and OPD after each issue, which means onus of proof on the plaintiff and onus of proof on the defendant. So now, depending as to whether you are appearing for the plaintiff or the defendant, you must be able to prove that particular issue. So unless you know what exactly you are to prove, how will you refer to the documents or the pleadings? So first and foremost, read the issues and then start reading the evidence. Now, when I say evidence, I mean the examination in chief and the cross-examination of each witness. Put them together. Then see what the documents have been exhibited and what documents have been marked. If a document has been exhibited, it's already proved in the court. If a document is marked, you must support it with some extra evidence, supporting evidence, to be able to prove that document if it is important for you. And while doing this entire reading, keep marking your sentences which you feel are in your favor and which are against you. Now, initially, when you do these markings, make small marks. Generally, when I say marking, a lot of people get this impression I just need to highlight, and they just keep highlighting the entire paragraph. And when you actually see that, what's the point of highlighting? You might have just read the entire plain.
Right.
So never do that. What you need to do is, there are markings also go in few different steps, and it needs a lot of reading. So the first reading, you are just marking the sentences with small ticks or small crosses, which is for you. You can have your own marks. Some people may use exclamation marks, whatever that helps you. That's the starting of the sentence to the beginning of to the end of the sentence which you want to read out to the court, and you've ticked or crossed depending as to whether it's in your favor or against you. So you just keep randomly marking, and those markings can be covering more sentences. That's okay. Once you've done that in the pleadings, you've done that in the documents, you've done that in the evidence, then you do the second reading. In the second reading, you start highlighting the words of a sentence that you feel that you would prominently bring it to the notice of the court. So your actual highlighting with the highlighter would only be one word or one or two words which you want to stress upon while reading that sentence you had marked. Now, again, like we did it in ticks and crosses, here also you can use a red highlighter or a green highlighter to show whether a particular sentence is in your favor or against. It's very important to mark or highlight the things which are against you also, because you know that is going to be the arguments of the opposite side, and you should already be well prepared to counter it. Don't just close your eyes towards it, just focus on your arguments. No, you will lose a case on that. He may be able to argue it better than you. But if you're ready with the counter arguments, then you will be able to, even if he's argued well, you will be able to counter it well. So the cross signs at the beginning and the end of these sentences will tell you where to start reading, and highlighted words will tell you which words to stress upon while reading that sentence. So this is about reading the file, reading that entire file, all the pleadings, all the documents, and all the evidence. Once you've read, now the third reading, you've marked it. First, in your first reading, you marked the broader ones. Second reading, you marked the highlighted portions. In the third reading, you start preparing your notes. And of course, now you're focusing on what you've already marked, your favor and your against arguments. And then you start preparing your notes, which will help and guide you with the direction of the arguments. Of course, you have your pleadings, but your notes will focus only on what you want to finally argue and what you want to stress upon. So it may not be as long as your pleadings. In fact, your notes should be one-liners. They should be very short, not more than one page. Now when you expand too much, there are tendency when you're preparing a note, you just expand almost everything, because when you read a file, you feel, oh, this is also important. No, please shorten it. Because if you end up writing everything, you will only read out in the court. You are not going to actually argue a case. So, and if you're reading out the entire case, the judge will, get bored, and he may feel, I can read it myself. I don't need you to stand here and read out the entire thing. Secondly, these notes should only contain the important points of arguments. When I say important, I mean the ones which will actually you think will convince the court in your favor. If you read the pleadings, obviously, because you put them in the pleadings, they are important. I agree. But while arguing your pleadings, the judge will always have. But when you're arguing, you're stressing upon the court only those points which you think, if the judge gets to know this, supposing he gives me only 5 minutes to argue, and I quote these 5 points, I will win my case. So your argument should be to that extent specific and short. And each pointer of your notes should mention, after each point, the page number which you are going to refer to for the judge to read from the pleadings or the documents which you wish to read, and the para number. So whenever I quote a sentence in my notes, which obviously I'll expand in the court, but those notes will always at the end also have at page number this, at para number this. So 2 acts. Now my notes are ready. And then I will now start reading. My notes are on facts. Now what I need to add on my notes is the law supporting my facts. So start reading the law. Because now you're very confident about your facts and you're sure that whatever you now say on facts, you have some documents or evidence to support it. Of course, through your notes, now you can also mention the page number and the para number which you need to read out to support your contentions. So now you start focusing on the law that supports it. And when I talk about the law, I mean the first and foremost thing that you read are the relevant provisions of law, the sections on which you are based on the case. Because you need to fulfill all the ingredients of a provision of law to be able to win that case. And once your ingredients through your facts have been completed and you're sure of what the law is, you start reading the judgments, the precedents that supports it. Now, when you did while reading your notes and your case file, you've highlighted it. Even in the judgments, you start marking it and highlighting the relevant words and sentences which you want to stress upon while arguing in court.